flossing with that
drop. KCP in the middle, bounce, Larry in there. Throw that baby down. Oh my goodness.
What hard? Are you kidding? With some anger.
Kyrie get out of that double team with the hip fake. What a move by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Levine, he goes right.
Oh! Does anybody know how to post video?
Welcome back into the Drop Step Podcast. Home team, hello, here with B-Dog. Say hello to the people, B-Dog.
What's up?
Hook the hook. Say hello to the people.
What's happening, y'all?
We used to say hello to the people.
How y'all doing out there, world?
Back again here on the Drop Step Podcast as it is in a playoff mode for sure. A whole lot of goodness going on in the NBA world. A whole lot of questions in the NBA world. A whole lot of craziness in the NBA world, and we'll get a chance to get to most of it here on the NBA or in the Drop Step Podcast. First and foremost, we are at the draft lottery, and the fortunes and fates of franchises can change with the luck of combinations of numbers. Obviously, everybody wants number one this year because of the Zion Williamson player and non-player impact. His superstar aura is going to change a lot in the NBA, I believe, first few years in the league, but also a chance for some teams that are bad to get good, maybe a lot quicker than they think.
Ping pong balls have never had more value than what they do today. The price of ping pong balls shoot through the roof wherever you want to buy them. Why? Because these balls today will determine the fate and the future. Yeah, I know y'all laughing. I said what I said. These balls today will determine the fate and the future of a lot of franchises, especially the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, we are not in a position to where we could be just totally excited. I'm extremely nervous about
Oh, you can be excited and nervous at the same time.
No, I'm not excited and nervous. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. Y'all might be really excited, but me, yeah, boy, I've been nervous all
What's that?
Like,
Is that coffee ain't gonna help you?
This ain't coffee. It's Coke for right now. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get the bubbles out. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. There are a lot of teams that could use a shot in the arm. You know, Dallas and the Hawks really got some last year. DeAndre Ayton came on strong last year. Marvin Bagley III came on strong last year. So there are a lot of teams that got shots in the arms with their draft selections last year, and I think it's going to work out well long-term for them. For some teams that are still looking, the Cavaliers, the New York Knicks, the Memphis Grizzlies that are still looking for that shot in the arm. There are a lot of teams that really need that 1, 2, or third position to get up there and make sure that they are not forgotten about, and they have to wait another year for another crop of talented players to come in.
Man, this could be a franchise-changing night for a lot of teams, you know, at least for a couple teams. You know, you get in that Zion sweepstakes, you're talking about literally turning around an entire franchise possibly on a fast track. You start talking about Ja Morant, you're talking about a similar fast track of a turnaround as well. So this is a big night. You know, I've been waiting on this night for a while now, you know, we've been talking about the tank all year long, you know, and this is where things, you know, either will or won't pay off. Big night for Travis Schlink too, you know, because this will determine how smart he looked with making that Dallas trade. You know, if these balls bounce the right way, then, you know, he could look like a genius. If they bounce the wrong way, it could be some riding on the streets tonight.
Let me ask you something. I understand that obviously the number one pick is the best scenario. But if there was a second best scenario with our pick and even the Dallas pick, home team, where would you want those two picks to land if there's a second best scenario?
Well, the best scenario is 1 and 6. The Hawks get number 1, and they get the pick they get from Dallas at number 6. That's the best case scenario. Second best scenario would be 5 and 6. You know, obviously those teams that finished in the top 3, they're guaranteed a top 4 slot. So, you know, then you start playing a number game. But if you can't get 1 and 6, would you take, 5 and 6? You're in a situation, do you take both picks? Do you trade one? Do you hold and wait, take calls over the summer? Use that as part of a package? It all depends on how things go. And then if you want to deal with worst case scenario, what if you hit 7 and 9?
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but it's not great.
That's bad.
Honestly, man, as I was looking through, a lot of the prospects, there's not a lot of. I mean, it's a huge drop off between Zion and Ja being 1 and 2, and from 3 all the way down to 8.
What about RJ?
RJ would probably be a solid 3. He'd probably be solid in there at the number 3 prospect in this draft.
Because realize at one point he was the number 2 prospect.
True. I mean, but how did he fare with playing this year with Zion? Zion stole that shine.
Zion stole that shine, but still, you had RJ. He's still the second most points scored in the season at Duke. So I mean, I still take it either way, and he still got the length, and he still got some size and room to grow. Where like my whole thing all year, I haven't been trying for Zion. I've actually been hoping and praying away for RJ. So I really think him getting that at the wing and maybe like that, hopefully he could slide down to the 5th or 6th slot if we get that. Well, I don't see that happening, but that's what I was looking for. But outside of that, what about Bo? If we go the opposite route and we go big in the draft, what about him? If you get him in that towards the 5th through 8th range.
That's what I mean. I mean, that's kind of my point. I mean, we can all agree that the top 3 prospects in the draft will be Zion, Ja, and RJ.
But then after
that tier like drops. Like there's a drop between those 3 and the next, say, 5, 6, 7 cats after that. So I wouldn't be that mad if we ended up in that 5 and in that 7 slot. I wouldn't be that mad because it's a lot of, take your pick.
So
you're rolling the dice.
It's pick your poison at that point.
I think if you wind up in that 5 to 7 slot, one guy, I think the most intriguing guy to me and the one that I think can really shine at the next level because I think he'll have more of an opportunity to do so is that 3rd star that was at Duke, Cam Reddish. His ability to shoot the ball and spread the floor, put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, and his ability to use that wingspan to defend out on the perimeter. I think he's going to be a lot better than what people think because he played behind Zion and RJ. It wasn't a whole lot of opportunity. He had the game-winning shot at Florida State. He had sporadically, good games, and he showed flashes.
Sporadic is the thing that I would think is key though, because to me it was a little bit too inconsistent with Cam Reddish, and you're already saying he was the 3rd at best option for Duke. Well, he's going to come to if we were to get him the Hawks, he's not going to be that first option or that second option in my opinion, because that's going to be a Trae Young, that's going to be John Collins, and you still have Herter, so he's still got to be fighting for opportunities.
Right.
So you really, I don't know.
But I do think.
Plus, I want somebody bigger. I don't like just getting a whole bunch of guys that seem kind of like he still seems kind of small to me. I want to get some guys with some more size.
I mean, he's 6'7", 6'8". He's able to spread the floor. He can shoot. Well, I mean, you got some slim guys in the league who make an impact. And who says he can't bulk up a little bit?
I'd hate to spend that pick on a role player. And right. I know I'm right.
But at the same time, if you're picking at that point in time, you're gonna be picking between 5 and 7. One of those guys are gonna be a role player. It's gonna be a third. It's gonna be a third option.
Well, I think that they're cats with a higher ceiling and a higher floor than a Cam Reddish. I like the logic. I mean, Cam can shoot and Cam can defend, but I haven't seen it on a consistent enough basis, especially playing with Zion and playing with RJ. I mean, those are essentially, like we said, those are 2 of the top 3 prospects in the league. So if you can't maintain your shine playing with those guys, what makes me think that you'll be able to maintain that shine playing with a Trae or with a John Collins? So,
okay.
I tell you who I do like is DeAndre Hunter.
From Virginia?
From Virginia. He's a long defender, and he can shoot. And he's got a higher ceiling than than a Cam Reddish does, because his number 1 priority is defense. Reminds me a lot of a guy that came into the league and developed his offensive game while he had his defensive game already established in Kawhi Leonard. Kind of going that route.
And I'm not mad at DeAndre. I just, when I looked at Cam, I see his ceiling, and y'all may look at me crazy saying this. I see his ceiling like a Paul George. I really do. His ability to shoot the ball, his ability to put the ball on the floor and defend on the outside with his length. If he's everything that I think he can be, I think his game kind of similarly resembles Paul George.
Well, I think that we're getting to the point where we're going to see, and tonight's going to be going to tell us a whole lot about just where the whole league is going to stand by the end of the night. What else we got today, you guys?
You got them conference finals coming up, baby.
Oh, my goodness. Them conference finals, when they going down?
Tonight. The Western Conference Finals starts tonight. The Eastern Conference Final starts tomorrow.
This is the week, man. I've been waiting on these, man. This is specifically, y'all know I've been in on this Eastern Conference matchup. Man, I've been looking forward to getting this Milwaukee and Toronto thing going, man. I will be
Giannis versus the Claw.
Every minute of this thing, man. Every second.
Just looking for great finishes. The one thing is we've seen all of the teams remaining the Final Four. They have great finishers on both sides, and that should make for some very good basketball. The Bucks have had the longest time off, so they should be well rested. Does that impact them? Will that make them a little rusty? Will they be ready to go? You have the situation with KD not being out. I think he might miss this series, and if we want to see KD, the Warriors might have to make it back to the finals. You got C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard, Enes Kanter and Seth Curry not backing down, being scrappy, hitting big shots, and then you have a situation where Toronto, if they can get something, I think, a little bit extra from Kyle Lowry, they will be right there, I think, at the end with the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think we're in for a couple of game sixes, and we'll see how everything falls. But I think we're going to get some really good basketball, and I think we deserve this. After all of the grind of the NBA season, this is what basketball and what basketball fans deserve.
If you're looking at the numbers of the two backcourts, and I'm talking about Portland and Golden State, both CJ and Dame, Clay and Steph, both of those respective backcourts, I think, shooting 38% from three. And when it comes to the field goals made and attempted, they're right around the same as well. This is going to be a battle. You got two guards in Dame and CJ who have a lot to prove, who are hungry. And you got the two who we already know what they've done and what they're trying to continue to do. Portland is really. I think Portland's really going to try to come out and get this game won. Now, I know Golden State has had a little rest and whatnot, but I see Portland coming out guns a-blazing. Now, do I think they're going to win game one? Probably not. But I do see them coming out fast and furious in Golden State.
They're going to have to take at least one of these games in Golden State. There's no way they're coming down from a 2-0 deficit, and I think it's just going to make the series more stale if they don't steal one. I just love the fact that even if, like you said, the four guards that we got playing for each respective team, it doesn't matter who has an off night, the other guard can pick up the slack. And we've seen that even with Portland, because I was sitting there about to trash Lillard almost all game 7, but it didn't matter because CJ was there to pick up the pieces the whole night. So, and you have that same thing with the Splash Brothers. You know, Clay and Steph, they've been doing that since we've discovered the Splash Brothers. Even if one does have an off night, which is rare, the other one's right there to pick up all the pieces that's needed. And the series is going to be so much more interesting without KD. I like that dynamic because it does make the Warriors look a little weaker, even though it frees up their game more. Still, you don't have the guarantee, you ain't got the big joker no more. The whole time y'all been sitting there with the big joker on your forehead, and now it just fell off into the pile. You knocked yourself out. So I like to see how that one's going to turn out. As far as in the East, though, with Greek Freak and Kawhi Leonard going against, you really got two of the top, 4 players in the game.
Pretty much.
Basically going to be going head-to-head because I know that Kawhi is not going to back down from trying to guard Greek Freak, and Greek Freak is going to be everywhere anyways. I just love to see how that one's going to end up.
Let me throw this real quick. I think one thing that will be a determining factor in that Western Conference Finals is Steph Curry's lack of defense. You cannot hide him. You cannot hide him now. You cannot hide him on Lillard. You cannot hide him on C.J. McCollum. Where are you going to put Steph Curry at on defense in this series?
Against his brother.
But if his brother's not in the game, the starting lineup, who is Steph Curry guarding, and where can I go for my offense? Because that's where I'm going.
And that's not where I want my star. Even though that's his brother, that ain't where I want Steph Curry. I don't want him guarding Seth Curry. Because Seth is – he's not – I don't think he's impacting the game, but he's not impacting the game like Dame or CJ will.
Not at all.
Yeah, but –
And if I'm Terry Stotts, I'm not putting – Seth won't see the court while Steph is in the game. Ooh. Because I don't want you to hide him on him.
Right.
I'm going to make you put Steph Curry on someone, and I'm going to go at him all game long. And I'm going to rest. I'm going to take every bit of energy he has so he can't give you anything on offense. That will be a determining factor in this series.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't drink it.
I'm telling you.
Don't drink This is how we beat the Warriors.
I'm telling you.
Just do this. Just do this to Steph Curry. Don't drink it. Book. Don't do it. I'm telling you. I tried to tell them, and some of them have now seen it. Once that KD went out, these guys are about to go back into the Warriors of old mode, and the ball moved a little bit more fluidly. Now, you're right. Defensively, there are issues, but there have always been issues. Don't do it and say because Steph Curry would be a problem in a one-on-one situation with Dame or a one-on-one situation. You're not going to stop either one of those guys, and none of those guys are going to stop him. I think they need to trap a lot more. They need to double team Steph Curry a lot more and just make the ball slow down at least for a pass or two. But I think this is going to come down to offensive rebounding, because both of these teams are going to shoot threes and they're going to miss threes. And it's going to come down to free throw shooting and defense enough to stop the spurts. Both teams are going to have spurts. Who's going to have that? Who's going to have the 12-2 run? Who can keep it to a 6-0 run? I think those are the things I'll be looking for in this series.
The two factors for both of the X factors for both of these teams. For Portland, I think it's Rodney Hood. If he's healthy, he still has that hyperextended knee. I don't know how he's feeling with that, but his ability to shoot and knock down shots. And for Golden State, Andre Iguodala returning back to his MVP finals form to see if he can actually consistently knock down shots and get to the basket as well.
I think it's more than Iguodala for the Warriors, though. It's their motto has been strength in numbers, and for this last year or so, since they got KD, we've been saying, nah, it's not in the numbers anymore. It's in your starting lineup. But really, what they've shown us now, at least once KD went down, is the numbers were still there. We just didn't use that because we didn't have to. So I think it's going to be more than Iguodala. I think Livingston coming off the bench and Looney, those guys have actually still been stepping up a lot when they have the moments. As long as you stay poised and stay mature, they're going to be fine.
Right, and you're right, but I'm talking about the X factor from a scoring perspective. He's going to be the more consistent scorer outside of the two guys who we already know about.
Right.
There's no one that's going to have a higher percentage of shots than Iguodala when he gets the ball outside of Steph and Clay.
I think you're going to sleep on Looney. I think Looney might be that one this
Looney
time
from
around.
a defensive standpoint and a rebounding standpoint, sure, absolutely. And that's going to be critical, like home team said, offensive rebounding, who can pound the boards the most. Mm-hmm. But I do think because Steph and Clay are shooters, we know how shooters can get. And we understand that shots do not always fall. There's going to have to be somebody else who can get to the basket, who can kind of not play the KD role, but somebody who can aggressively get to the basket and get a shot consistently. Because as great as shooters as they are, shots do not always fall, which then goes to when people are going to ask, if the shots don't fall, when KD coming back? When is that question going to rise? When is that question going to start? I have all the faith in the world in Steph and Clay. I understand their ability, but they're not shooting 100% from three.
Of course not. I think that's kind of what it'll boil down to. We got two jump shooting teams, and I really think that kind of playing off what you said, home team, with the rebounding being such a key in this series. I really think you got to look inside and kind of look at the big man matchup. And that's kind of if we're kind of, if Steph and Clay versus Dame and CJ are a wash, then just kind of moving forward to the next matchups, who has the advantage on the inside between these guys? I tend to side with Portland on that point.
With Enes and Zach Collins.
Enes and Zach Collins, exactly. So, and I think they're going to get more production from those guys than Golden State would be able to get from Looney and from Bogut.
It'd be different if Boogie was healthy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This would be a completely different series if Boogie was healthy.
We still haven't even mentioned Draymond Green, though. You forgot about him down there. Like, he could be a factor of a triple-double almost every
absolutely.
freaking night. So as much as you want to say, Cantor and Collins, they're still going to need that third over there, too, which hopefully Aminu Farouk can step up. But I don't see that happening as well. Draymond's just too much of a force. He's like the modern day Rasheed Wallace type of
definitely
energy
got the
guy.
attitude.
That's what I'm saying. As far as attitude and stuff, the energy that he gives you, I think that's going to play a bigger factor. And I don't see anybody really being able to step up to him in that role from Portland.
So how many games we got this going?
6.
Western. 6.
6.
Yeah, I think we got to go
because it's going to be more competitive than what I think.
But to me, that 6, it sounds like we're almost cheating Portland though when I say 6, because because it's not going to go home. So I don't know.
I see Golden State taking one in Portland.
Okay.
Easy. For sure.
Steve Kerr has won one road game in every series he's coached during this run. So he's finding a way to get it done. Don't do it is all I'm going to say. If I could have a plane with a banner, don't do it.
Look, I've been standing on the ledges all season long with my picks. Look, look, we're in the conference finals. I'm not. Look, I retired it. Look,
and I hear that branch breaking. It's cracking.
I'm retired from my predictions at this point. I just want to enjoy some basketball.
All right.
It should be good. The Eastern Conference Finals with Coach Bud. Good offense, good defense, 3-point shooters, a lot of pressure. Chris Middleton, he's going to have to do what he's been doing. He can't not be what he's been, an all-star. The other guy you have to worry about on the break, the guy who's hitting the catch and shoot threes, he's got to help out Giannis so Giannis doesn't have to put the entire Buck hope on his shoulders and keep him fresh and not wear him down throughout the course of the series. And I think that'll be all right. Coach Bud have his guys well prepared. They'll be well coached. And now with Malcolm Brogdon coming back before the last series came to an end, now he's got some of his game shape and game speed and game timing back. I think that's a plus for Milwaukee as well.
This is going to be a series full of big men shooting the ball. You got Milwaukee, you got Brook Lopez, you got Mirotic,
Ilyasova.
Right. And with Toronto, you got Mark Gasol, even though Paul can shoot too. Mark Gasol,
Serge Ibaka.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, all these big men. I want to see which big men can knock down the most shots.
I don't even want to be entertained by that thought.
I don't, but I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see which big men can knock down the most shots. And also, we understand Giannis driving to the basket. With Gasol and Ibaka, who can try to disturb Giannis the most as he's trying to get to the basket? Because we all know that first game when Boston played him, it was bodies around him, hands on him, see who can disrupt him getting to the basket.
Right.
We know that's where he's the most efficient. I wonder if Toronto is going to try to take a page out of that book and try to put some bodies around him to say, okay, we're not going to give you a straight beeline to the basket.
I think, their game plan should be to try to close up the paint and don't give him any free lanes. So, Gasol and Ibaka are going to have to be forces as far as just putting some meat on him.
Right.
And make him become a jump shooter, because that's the least effective part of his game, even though he can still shoot. Like, that's the most effective part.
Boy, when that man get a jump shot, Lord.
Exactly. But still, I think at the end of the day, Brogdon, him being back is the key to me. The key factor. We haven't seen him all playoffs, and for him to now be back, this series could, in my opinion, go 5, because I don't see where Kawhi Leonard's help is really coming from.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep pace. And
Yeah.
they had so many games, a few games in the 90s, and that's not going to cut it going up against the pace that the Bucks play. Plus, you have to make your shots and you have to make your free throws to keep pace. So,
and I do not want to be in a foxhole with Kyle Lowry.
No.
Throw him out. He's proven it time and time again that it's like, bro, what are you doing? It really, to me, he's too small for playoff basketball. It gets rougher in there, and you still trying to, because you think about a lot of his game is trying to get mid-range and get inside the paint, but getting in there, you're getting touched and you fall to the ground, but you're not going to get those foul calls like you would in the regular season.
Kyle Lowry's about to go up against the guy that he wishes he was.
Eric Bledsoe.
Right. Like, that is
the prototypical little guard that's like
that's built like a fire hydrant.
Right. Yeah, like that's what he wishes he was, but really you just bottom heavy, Kyle Lowry. You're not built like that.
If you're Nick Nurse, you are showing Toronto the tape of game 1 against the Celtics, the Bucks against the Celtics. Like, you have that on repeat. Like, you were showing that to your squad every minute of the day, because that's the only game that the Bucks have lost this playoffs.
Right.
They've only lost one game, and that was game 1 against the Celtics.
Yep.
So you better have that on repeat and find out what was in that blueprint that they did to disturb Giannis and Coach Bud and the Bucks, because that's what you're gonna have to do. But I don't know if you have the the personnel to be able to do that, but the blueprint is out there. I mean, even Boston couldn't repeat that blueprint, but
that's the whole thing
there.
about it. You showed them already, like, oh, I have to play tougher. Like that's what Boston did. They showed Giannis, I have to be stronger and tougher when I go. So now that he knows that, I don't think he's gonna take a decline and do the same thing he did in Game 1. At this point, I think he's just freight train in.
They might hurt that guy. They're gonna, because like you said, Ibaka, Marc Gasol, getting into the paint with those guys, like you have to body him. He has to have his body on the court.
Ibaka is the Draymond Green of the East.
Yeah.
Because he's liable to knock you out.
Yeah.
It may be an accident, it may not be, but he's had his altercations.
Yeah.
Draymond doing it, he looking you up and down after he did it.
Exactly.
At least Ibaka, it don't necessarily come as malicious.
But he African, he's strong. That's a different type of strength.
It'll be good, man. I don't think that Toronto has the depth, and it's crazy that we're in playoff basketball now. And if you look at Milwaukee's running 9 deep, sometimes 10 deep in the playoffs. Like that's not normal, No. So for them to be able to put the trust in their bench the way that they do during the playoffs, I salute that, because that's not usually what happens. Usually, if you're getting a check, this is when you earning your check, And they got a lot of guys that ain't getting that big of a check that are really contributing to this team right now. So it'll be interesting, because I don't think Toronto got the depth like that.
That's the good. What's going on with the lottery and what's going on in the Eastern and Western Conference playoff races. We'll get to the bad and then the ugly. The bad right now.
Watch yourself.
The Lakers. What are they going to do?
Watch yourself.
I thought that was the ugly.
They didn't know there's something even uglier than the Lakers, believe it or not. The bad is the Lakers. They can't find somebody to come coach them. They had somebody that wanted to come coach them in Tyronn Lue. They couldn't work out the deal. He was certainly offended by getting a 3-year deal. When you see Monty Williams get a 5-year deal, when you see Luke Walton, former Lakers coach, get a 5-year deal, why would a championship coach come to a mess and take a 3-year deal? He wouldn't, and so he didn't. They also told Tyronn Lue, according to multiple reports, that he would have to deal with the fact that they would pick his assistant coaches for him. Why would a championship coach agree to that? So he didn't and went on his way. Frank Vogel hired as head coach.
I'll be a Huckleberry.
Kidd, the assistant coach. Welcome to Los Angeles for the 2019-2020 campaign.
Frank Vogel.
I want to hear this.
Vogel. I don't know where to start.
You should be happy.
The floor is yours.
Who should be happy?
You should be happy.
About what?
Frank Vogel.
Let me start off. Number one, I asked this question. Why does Kurt Rambis have decision-making power in the Los Angeles Lakers front office? Number one, who the heck is Kurt Rambis? Number two, no disrespect to it, why does his wife have a say in what goes on in the Lakers organization? Number three, why does why does Kurt Rambis' wife have Jeannie Buss' ear? Because the report is that she takes what she says into consideration. For what?
One simple word: nepotism.
But see, that's why they hired Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel is not going to be a guy that's going to push the envelope. He's not going to go to Rob Pelinka and say anything. He's going to sit there. He's going to clap somebody said he's going to be the Jason Garrett of the NBA. He's going to sit there. He's going to clap. He's not going to force anything. He's not going to barge into Rob Pelinka's office. He's not going to push the envelope. Why? Because he's happy to have a job.
One thing I can
Wouldn't you be? There's only 30 of them in the league, right?
Right, but there is but it's a difference when the reason that he's liable to take. He took anything that they gave him because he's only happy to have a job.
Because he's betting on the fact that he's going to be able to do something with it. He's betting on himself, essentially, is what it is. Just like with contract negotiations at the time. You say no to one part of it. Why? So that hopefully, when you prove that you're really worth it, you get the big check later on.
But he didn't say no to anything.
Okay, because he's betting on himself. Just like going into you go into jobs all the time like that, and you bet on yourself, hoping that at the end of the day, it's gonna really pay off for you. So I can see why. And we're all sitting there like, oh my gosh, is Frank Vogel really a bad coach?
No. But
his only problem was LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals, and now he has LeBron James.
Right. But at the same time, you hire him as the head coach. The issue is going to be down the bench in Jason Kidd.
Not if you don't make it one.
Okay.
Man.
They say that the word is, being from New Jersey and Kyrie being from New Jersey, Kyrie and Jason Kidd have a really good relationship. It's a free agent possibility if Kyrie opts out, connect the dots. He can go to L.A., have a coach there that he likes playing with. He's already seen he can't win without LeBron James. He'll eat a little crow. That's the way they're trying to connect dots in Los Angeles.
And who would LeBron James have a better connection with on that coaching staff than Jason Kidd?
Okay. So
not your head coach. Jason Kidd. Who is going to work with Lonzo Ball? Not your head coach, Jason Kidd.
Just because I said that he's playing for the long game, he's betting on himself now, don't mean he's betting on to be with the Lakers in 3 years. You play this right and you get the chips that you want. Don't you think he's basically going to ride his own ticket anywhere?
No.
Why not?
Because my thing is,
Tyrone basically did it. Now he's sitting here holding himself against the Lakers like, I don't want no little deal like that.
But he has two things that went for him, though. One, he won a championship with LeBron. Two, he's a Laker guy.
But he's unemployed, though.
So Frank Vogel, huh?
He's unemployed.
He's unemployed. Exactly my point.
He's unemployed, but at least they called him.
But Frank Vogel is sitting there saying like, hey, let me try and do what Ty Lue just did, and then I can bet my own ticket. You're sitting there acting like Ty Lue did.
But the Lakers, he was on the list of one of the. Frank Vogel wasn't on the list until after the fact.
I
he
don't
was
care.
one of the after the fact type guys.
But I got that check now.
That's cool. But the thing about it is, Tyronn Lue has the ability to turn that down because he's more likely to get another job than Frank Vogel. When's the last Frank Vogel got fired in Orlando, and then the next year they made the playoffs?
Let me give you a non-Laker perspective, because when I saw the hire, the thing that Jason Kidd and Frank Vogel, the things that these hires said to me. What the Vogel part I'll address first. That said that this is a Laker hire. It's not a LeBron hire.
No,
it's not a LeBron hire.
Rambis.
Which as a non-Laker fan, and I hate seeing LeBron be able to make those calls. Like so, I was happy for the Lakers to make a call that was not a LeBron call. The Jason Kidd hire, I think, is a LeBron call.
You gotta
maybe not a LeBron call,
but
you
gotta pacify it a little bit.
It does give LeBron, because me and you talked about this
right.
a few weeks ago. I thought that Jason Kidd coming in would be the perfect fit.
Okay.
So I think kind of even though that's the perfect fit for LeBron, they still had to make a decision that was better for the franchise as a whole, which is Frank Vogel.
Sugar in the medicine.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
Exactly.
Let me give a non-Laker opinion. It's a mess. And
that's the truth.
the problem is the time is ticking and the window is shrinking. What started off as 3 years with a fourth-year option has now turned into 3 years, possibly 2 years remaining with LeBron James really being his prime, and a third-year option. Anybody coming in, Kyrie, Kawhi, KD, if it's not multiples of those names, is it enough to get past the Blazers, the Nuggets, the Warriors in the West, as tough as the West is? And if it isn't, then is it crazy to start thinking about maybe trading LeBron James, which is where you're starting to see some of this chirp and talk come from, that you can do all you can, but you're only talking about a small window. Now, certainly it'll be worth it if you win an NBA title, but if you don't, to put all your eggs in a 3-year window that might not be developing like it's going to work, do you need to build something that might be better for a long-lasting run than one last run with LeBron James?
Y'all looked at me like I was crazy when I told y'all LeBron won't finish this contract in a Laker jersey.
You might have the last laugh.
Like LeBron, it'll be by either two ways. Either he finishes this contract and goes somewhere else to play for another team, or the Lakers trade LeBron. Like, you got to make a decision. Like, it's going to boil down to, will we be able to put this together fast enough? Like, the clock is ticking.
Absolutely.
So you have to make moves that pay dividends immediately. So I don't think he does. I'll be completely real with you. I don't think he finishes this one with the Lakers. He rocks another jersey before he signs another contract.
So he's getting traded. So you're saying that he's getting traded by the Lakers at some point within the next year and a half.
If the Lakers are smart and want to return on their investment, then yes.
I never thought that it was going to get to this point because I never saw Magic leaving. I never saw the front office crumble the way that it's crumbling. So because I didn't have those factors then, I thought obviously they were going to get it together. They were going to get the free agents. It was more promising at the time that they were going to get them. Now I'm not so sure, which then leaves the door open for other options. Because when free agents start looking around and they look at this organization, they don't know where the leadership is coming from. Or if they do, they don't like where it's coming from.
Right.
Because they're like, this isn't Dr. Buss's team. This isn't Dr. Buss's organization. And this is what they see, which means if that's not his team, there's no order. They had problems when Jim Buss was there with, Dwight Howard and everybody else there, got rid of him. Now you shift into the Jeannie Buss era, and there's still issues. So it might have to come down to where you look at possibly options when it comes to trading LeBron James.
So where are we trading him to then? Like who's going to take on aging LeBron James, who's now really trying to recover from a hamstring? What was it? Hamstring?
A growing.
I'm sorry, growing. Yeah, a growing injury.
There's a report out there that there have been people discussing I don't know if it's a straight up LeBron for Ben Simmons swap, or there's a LeBron, Ben Simmons, and some draft picks involved. But reports say that that's something that the Sixers will possibly entertain.
They should. If they got LeBron James, they'd go to the NBA Finals.
Right. I see that for the Sixers, but what you're getting Ben Simmons, who we've kind of gone back and forth on this show about.
He's a great player, but can't shoot.
Great player, can't shoot, and you're, like I've said before, you're hoping that he's going to basically develop because he's still only 22 years old. So, all right. But that doesn't seem like an even trade to me.
I think it would have to be Ben Simmons and some other things.
So it's going to be some picks, but what picks are you? I don't know. I don't know if I'm
playoff teams. There won't be any lottery picks.
Yeah. So
LeBron James is a depreciating asset. As we sit today, LeBron James is a depreciating asset.
Would you not agree that over the next 2 to 3 years, LeBron James put on basically any team, makes them a playoff contender and possibly title contender? For the next 2 to 3 years, would you not say that about LeBron James? Yeah. At least half the teams?
Yeah.
Not the Lakers.
Okay, he got hurt. I was going to say that, but he did get hurt.
But he
had him in playoff contention.
They were going to not get hurt again as he gets older.
Good call.
So that's the one. But that's the one factor about LeBron that we're now asking that we've never questioned his whole career.
But even with him getting hurt,
I don't see him depreciating except for the fact that we all get older,
right?
So,
but even with him getting hurt, and I understand we were saying yes, he was hurt, and we don't know what could have been if he would have stayed healthy. The one thing that they still were not doing when he was healthy, they were not playing any defense. They were giving up some of the most points in the league. And obviously, with him in there or with him out, they still couldn't shoot the basketball. Those two problems, I think, would have kept them still out of the playoffs.
Which is what everybody is trying to do. Shoot the basketball, score, play at a high pace. They don't do well at the free throw line. They don't do well behind the three-point line. And it's not a good mix. I don't care how talented Kyle Kuzma is, what the ceiling on Lonzo Ball is. It's not working out. You look at other teams that started over a few years ago, and they're ahead of the curve, and they are refining the pieces that they need. What if Yusef Nurkic was still, available for the Trailblazers? They would be in a really good position, I think, this year to get to the NBA Finals. So I just think it's something that the Lakers is beyond barbershop talk now. The Lakers, the longer you wait, the less you're going to get for LeBron James. So certainly you don't want to just run the man out of the building. He is a all-time great, a superstar, a draw. Somebody gives you a chance to win. But if you go through it next year and you say you make the playoffs and you're a 7th seed and you run into Oklahoma City or you run into Denver or you run into Blazers or you run into Warriors, what are you setting yourself up for?
To get pummeled?
Yeah.
Get beat down?
That was my thought. I remember we did the episode right after the Hawks game. And I think LeBron had just came back from his injury. And my thought then was shut him down. Shut them down. Let them recoup. Let's go ahead and literally let's tank this season. Let's get as deep into the lottery as we could possibly get. Pair LeBron with a talented rookie, build our core, but that was for naught. I think we dig in a deeper hole. The longer you hold on to it, you're holding on to a hot potato. You're holding on to a ticking time bomb. Because if he walks at the end of this thing, then what do you have to show for it?
You would have had 2 stars to walk out on you,
right,
in Dwight Howard and then LeBron James.
You weren't missing out on Dwight walking out on you.
No, but it did hurt the franchise with him walking out, though.
Okay, but I'm sorry, we're still basically in the same position. This is all for nothing if they actually do land 1 or 2 free agents that we've all been talking about as it is. And you see LeBron's out here on the recruiting trail as it already. He's up going to the different playoff games, talking to whoever he needs to. Let's say Kawhi does come, because wouldn't we all agree that at this point, it don't look like to me Toronto could really keep Kawhi, because they don't really have any real pieces that are going to say we can continue to do this year in and year out. So I don't see him signing on long term. So if he does walk, and if LeBron has cozied up to him enough, what does that look like now?
Oh, absolutely. And I think right now, Kawhi would go to LA. It just won't be the Lakers. It'd be the Clippers. Why? Because I think a lot of these guys are looking at, if the front office was more in a, if it was more of in a, what's the word?
Solidarity.
Yes, it would be more appealing to people. But a lot of these guys are looking for structure. They're looking to see, okay, who's making the decisions here?
Yeah, but a lot of these guys are also, what we're usually looking for is a championship. And if we're going to still sit here and say that LeBron James is still going to put you in that position over the next 2 to 3 years, that's what the Lakers have been betting on for this stretch, right? There's nothing that says that somebody or 2 people don't come along and we try to make that thing happen in the next year and a half.
I hope so.
It is a mess, and you're gambling on a lot, but at the end of the day, that's what this all is just a gamble.
We'll
to
see
who's going to happen. So
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Nobody has gone to play with LeBron. LeBron went to Miami to go play with those guys. He went back to Cleveland to play with Kyrie.
Kevin Love came to play with him.
Kevin Love was traded to Cleveland.
Got traded to go play with him. But no free agent has said, boy, there's LeBron James. Sign me up.
This summer is the best opportunity.
You just had 2 coaches. You had a coach say, I'm not, as much as I love LeBron James, I'm not here for this. So, and that's a championship coach that won a title with them. Those are problems. Plus the stuff you're hearing about, what's been going on in the locker room. We'll see. That's the bad. The good, the lottery, the Eastern and Western Conference playoffs, the bad, the Lakers, the ugly, the Houston Rockets.
Man, hold on. The ugly had to have been Joel Embiid's cry face.
Well,
boy.
I'd rather get y'all's thoughts on that. I'd rather have a man that cared that much than a man that doesn't care at all.
True, but that thing was ugly.
It was terrible. It was ugly, boy.
Man, he should have had a towel over it, at least, man, just shroud the face a tad bit.
I saw it when that clock hit 0 and he started walking. I said, oh, man, he going to cry in the car. He ain't even make it to the car. He ain't even make it to the car. As soon as he hit that terminal, he was out.
Hey, you know what? That cry face ugly, I can't even blame him, though. Because the way you lose that game.
It was a good closeout.
I'm about to say.
You literally took the heart out.
Yeah, and I think he really is feeling bad because of his performances in games, 4 and 5.
Right.
I think if it wasn't for how things were going down in those games, if he was actually able to step up, because, like I said, I've been joking that this whole past week, he got the BGs. Get over it and go play ball. Get up and down the court and do your job. And I think that once he got to Game 6 and Game 7, he realized, man, I think I really did just milk that a little bit too much. And now I'm suffering for it here in the Game 7, watching this guy shoot over me.
And we can blame head coach Brent Brown for certain things, but everybody was talking about him being fired, win or lose or whatever in this offseason. And I guess they reported that he would be coming back for another year. Yeah. I can't blame a lot of it on Brent Brown, because there have been times that I've seen these guys play, and I wonder. I see Joel Embiid lacking effort. I see, where the heck is Ben Simmons? Mm-hmm. Sometimes with guys, if you're wanting to be a star, Jimmy Butler, if you're wanting to be a star, there are certain things that a coach can't do for you. You have to bring that out yourself. And you have to make it. You have to put emphasis on this. Say, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to exude the effort consistently. I'm going to get up and down the floor the way that I need to. It's easy to always blame the coach, but the coach can't teach you effort. If you're going to be a star in this league, Kawhi Leonard don't lack effort. That's not a coaching thing. That's a Kawhi thing.
So that came from your mama and them.
That comes from inside. Everybody ain't got it. That's the difference between a superstar, a star, and a role player.
Right.
It's the talent, one, but it's also the effort and the will to do so. Sometimes I question the will of Philly, which is why I doubt them so much. When they're high, they're high.
I think
when they're low, they're low.
They're front
runners.
Absolutely.
Right.
Airplane flying. There's a
Yes.
whole lot of swag. When they're up double digits, when things get tight, they're a totally different team. And, Joel Embiid, I don't think, he should be, look, the man cares. He cares about his job. I'd rather my big fella care that much. Now, do I need him falling into the arms of Mark Gasol? Mark Gasol was basically like, "Come on, baby, it's all right, it's good. Let's do this again next year."
He fell into the
court next year.
He fell into the arms of his lady in the back, of his girlfriend in the back. Now
It'll be all right. I'd rather have a star that cares and doesn't care.
I didn't mean to throw us on a tangent, man, but you said ugly, and that's the first thing that
Well, it
came
wasn't
to
as
mind.
ugly. His face, any meme they put on it, isn't as ugly as the Rockets, who once again fall to the Golden State Warriors. This time in a more just disappointing and disgusting way. No KD, no Boogie Cousins, and it's just more of they talked the talk and they couldn't walk the walk. And everybody's giving James Harden. I don't think James Harden needs to be completely raked over the coals because he had a very efficient and very good postseason. But in the game that mattered most, he had his worst ever free throw shooting game. In the game that mattered most, he had the final 4 turnovers for the Rockets, who had 5 in the fourth quarter. He had 4 of them, while Steph Curry had no points and a half and outscored James Harden and Chris Paul combined to get to the Western Conference Finals.
they don't want it, Coach. They don't want it. I'm gonna give y'all some numbers.
Oh, Lord.
3 years, $145 million left on the contract. Guess whose contract that is?
James Harden, bro.
No, sir.
Ooh. Chris Paul.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Ooh.
You have $145 million wrapped on up in that little body called Chris Paul.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
He signed a 4-year, $160 million deal.
Oh yeah, they locked all the way in now. Like,
This
Clink,
is year
clink.
13.
yeah, they.
This is 13th NBA season.
But Chris Paul showed up. Give Chris Paul his credit. He showed up.
But he didn't show up like the Warriors.
No.
The Warriors are not a super team. The Warriors play super.
Right.
Draymond Green averaged 7 points and 6 rebounds a game in the regular season. In the postseason, in that series, he averaged almost a triple-double. Andre Iguodala averaged 5 points a game in the regular season. In that series, he averaged 13 points. They up the level of their game when it matters most, and that is what the Houston Rockets need to learn.
James Harden shriveled up. Like, he just shriveled
a
all
prune.
the way up. Like, I guess the pressure broke his pipes, man. So, which I hate to see. I mean, I'll be real. I want to see superstars doing superstar things when it's showtime. And that really makes me question my, going back to, I know B-Dog, you probably out of the 4 of us probably the lowest on James Harden, and that makes me question how high I was on James Harden this year, because it was all during times that didn't necessarily matter. It's all glitz and glamour until it's time to get gritty and grimy.
Freaking matters. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot tell me that every time you get into the pressure cooker, now your behind just can't handle the heat. Every time that it's on the line, where is he at? The attempts aren't even up.
Yeah, it's more than scoring. Everybody looks, well, he scored 36 points, 35 points, 36 points. It's more than scoring. It's making those free throws. The Rockets shot no free throws in the fourth quarter of that elimination
And
game.
that's what they hang their hat on.
No
That's your
free
MO.
throws when the guy who takes more free throws than anybody else in the NBA, James Harden, is on the floor. He and his teammates took no free throws in that game.
You said 30.
in the fourth quarter.
You tweeted about it. 33% of his points come from the free throw line.
And he got none of those in the elimination.
Where are you? That's my whole question. Where are you in these moments? Like, it just baffles me how you could shrivel up like that each time, and it's been year after year. It's not just a Houston thing. This happened when he was in OKC. And we just thought it was because he was young, but this happened back when he was a sixth man for OKC.
I've had enough. You know, them sending 85 plays to the league the year before where there should have been fouls, the flopping and crying.
I told you, done turned the step back into something. I don't even know how to call that a travel or anything anymore.
Kicking the alleged rumor of kicking Steph Curry off the court shooter. I'm tired of all of it. They need to be quiet until they beat the Warriors.
So what does Houston need? What do they need?
Jesus.
They need heart.
A therapist.
They had the talent. I thought they had the talent.
It's mental. You need a therapist. They need to sit down with the team doctor and have some couch time because something's going on in your brain that tells you in the fourth quarter, I can't put up a shot. I can't get to the rim. It's not like all of a sudden the defense locked down and now they're just playing perfect defense on you. No, dude, you're not being aggressive. The ball is going to Chris Paul, and then you're on the other side of the field. There's no swing back, or you're coming and getting it late and then just trying to get up go ahead, man.
Let me ask you something. Let me bring something else to the table. When are we going to start really questioning Mike D'Antoni?
Him too.
Because he ran the same system in Phoenix. He didn't win. It was nice during the regular season. He don't win you 50 games.
I didn't realize we were questioning Mike D'Antoni. I thought that verdict.
Oh no, we're bringing him back to the carpet because he still has a job. We're gonna bring him back to the carpet. He did it in Phoenix, won 50 some odd games, but can never win a championship. You know, in the Lakers, he tried to run some form of it, but obviously it didn't work anyway. Now he's in Houston, and you know the last 4 years, you know they've been competing with Golden State, and they can never get over that hump. And here we are today. They didn't have Kevin. It was on a silver platter for them. Said, take it. If you want it, take it.
They won 2 games with Kevin Durant on the floor. They lost 2 games with Kevin Durant off the floor. I don't understand what that means. All I know is you weren't supposed to go down like that at home. One thing, it was Game 7 in Oakland. You were at home.
And this is after Game 7 last year when you didn't have Chris Paul.
And Game 6 last year when you were up double digits. Up double digits in Game 7.
This is your chance to right all your wrongs from last year.
Fool's gold, baby.
And you can't take advantage of it. Like the alley-oop is thrown. Like they threw you the alley-oop. All you had to do was catch it and dunk it, and you fumbled it. Like it's a really bad look. So I'm interested to see, you know, moving forward what adjustments Houston decides to make, because I mean it's the definition of insanity trying to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So they got to make some kind of changes. No,
you know how they beat Golden State? KD got to go to Houston.
He's not going there.
KD got to go to Houston. So we don't see, none of us see that happening, right?
No.
Then they not beating Golden State.
So it's just tough. It's too bad. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Drop Step Podcast. Next week we'll be halfway through the conference finals. Be more certain where Zion Williamson will be going to play his NBA career and how teams shook out in the draft lottery. We'll see you next time and have fun. Make sure you watch all of the podcasts that are now on iTunes, and a shout out to Shack Food Radio as well.
Yep.
Being a part of the Drop Step Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Peace.
Already. Make sure you comment, rate, and subscribe to the Drop Step Podcast on Apple Podcasts for iPhone users and Podbean for Android devices. You can also hear the podcast on Wednesdays and Saturday nights on the Shack Food Radio app.